of my most treasured memories as a kid, what am I talking about? I'm only 16 years old. One of my most treasured memories from when I was young was watching the entire Jurassic Park trilogy over and over again. And I'm not really talking about the new ones, though some of them are still good. I'm more so talking about the ones from the late 90s and early 2000s. Those were the ones that got me hooked. I remember when I was 6 years old and I was watching Jurassic Park 3 in 3D, might I add, and this big Spinosaurus came lunging out at the screen. And from its weird back shape to its booming roar, I was immediately hooked because my teeny 6-year-old brain could not comprehend what I was seeing. It was love at first sight. However, another thing that interested me from the movies was the process of actually bringing the dinosaurs back. So I'll give you the gist of it. InGen, the company who brought the dinosaurs back, was able to do so by using mosquitoes trapped in amber from over 65 million years ago. And now, I'm sure as all of you know, mosquitoes unknowingly like to suck the blood out of life forms like you and me, animals and dinosaurs alike. But InGen saw this opportunity and played a reverse on them by utilizing gene splicing techniques with West African toads in order to create real living dinosaurs. Also, picture gene splicing as making the perfect bowl of cereal. You have your cereal and you have your bowl. Now, you need the right amount of cereal and you need the right amount of milk to make the perfect bowl. And that's what gene splicing is. Now, this concept back then felt something like a revelation to me. I was like, yo, why aren't we actually doing this? We could have real living dinosaurs living in the zoos and living among us. I wasn't that bright as a kid. I realized that finding the mosquitoes preserved in amber probably has a 1 out of a million chance of actually happening. Because if you account for a mosquito having a lifespan of less than a week, it's pretty silly assuming that they survived for 65 million years, going under the Earth's core, tunneling slowly towards it as heat gradually grows. Yeah, no, what was I thinking? This concept that felt like a child's dream to me, however, has been rekindled with recent developments that geneticists have made in the process of de-extinction, bringing back dead or endangered animals permanently. And I'm not even kidding. Just recently, the Washington Post reported that these scientists were able to bring back a replica or copy of this black-footed ferret that died in 1998. The black ferret is now named Elizabeth Ann, but her past self was called Mary. Pretty confusing, right? But cloning officially exists, people, and I'm proud to say that it exists in my lifetime. Or am I? Alright, so I might have lied when I said that scientists were able to bring back an exact replica of a ferret. However, scientists actually use this technique called backbreeding, which is essentially using other related species to bring back an endangered or extinct species. Basically, it's not 100% DNA replication, it's more like 85 to 95%. Along with using the DNA from other related species, the base of the revival process must come from the extinct or endangered animal itself via intact DNA. Notice how I said intact, but DNA does not remain intact over time, it decays over time. And this means my dream of dinosaurs coming back and me getting to see them at the zoos, it probably will never happen. But we can still have animals like Elizabeth Ann back, right? And see, now that's where the debate lies. As the great Ian Malcolm once said, you were so preoccupied with whether or not you could that you never stopped to think whether or not you should. Bringing back an endangered or extinct species could pose great threats to our balance of the ecosystem and how we know them today. To explain this further, let's take a look at a saber-toothed cat, and let's name it Jimmy. According to science, Jimmy is around 400 kilograms and 175 centimeters in length. Jimmy also has a 1,000 Newton biting force and is able to run at approximately 60 kilometers an hour. Jimmy, in most parts of the world, would be considered an apex predator. Let's not forget, an apex predator is defined as one at the top of its respective food chain, meaning no one messes with an apex predator. And if scientists were to revive Jimmy via gene splicing, they would most likely have to utilize the DNA strands of their nearest descendant, the South American cougar. This South American cougar, let's name it Timmy, Timmy, can reach up to 280 centimeters in length and 100 kilograms with a top speed of about 80 kilometers an hour. Timmy may also be considered an apex predator, meaning no animal wants to mess with him. Now, placing a potential 400-pound, 280 centimeter tall tank with speeds of about, 80 kilometers an hour in any environment means that things are about to go down. And by that I mean Jimmy and Timmy's descendants would potentially cause the extinction of various other species due to their, lack of a better word, obvious sheer power. And I feel like I should also mention that South American cougars, like Timmy, have been known to expand their territory into human territory because they're one of the only animals in the world that do not see human as predator and see them as prey. Which means we're all screwed. Apart from spawning vicious murder cats that could potentially doom all of humanity, another thing that personally bugs me about de-extinction is it might not be viable to call the process itself de-extinction. Let's review the definition. De-extinction is defined as the process of bringing back an extinct or close to extinct animal and potentially saving it from the process of permanent death from the world. But the ways in which the scientists that I mentioned previously who brought back Willa the black-footed ferret might not actually be considered de-extinction. They're far from replicas, after all. And an example can be seen with this cute fella, the Christmas island rat. And we'll call her Betty this time. So, Betty and her species sadly died due to an unknown virus that had murdered her entire population, leaving only her to be left. And finally, like everything else, she died as well. Rest in peace, Betty. But now, we have the opportunity to bring Betty back from her tragic passing. And we'd spend the first amount of time trying to find her closely related descendant, which is a brown rat named Claire. See, the process of finding this closely related descendant would take a lot of time. And right now, we preferably spend that time trying to solve another virus that's been making headlines recently. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's been going on for 2 years. But say we finish the gene splicing. Claire and Betty's descendant, much like Timmy and Jimmy's descendant, would be far from being considered a replica of the original species. And, nothing is perfect. It's the imperfections that give something its character. However, spending potentially millions, if not billions of dollars trying to bring back something and it not turning out perfect, that's got me thinking. And I would say I'm personally all for it because I get to see some cool non-extinct animals. I get to see them living among us and all that. But that's really about it. And that's when another underlying debate on whether or not reaping something for its immediate benefits rather than ignoring its long-term payback, is that really beneficial to us as a society? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But to the 6-year-old kids and 19 to 25-year-old adults who grew up watching Jurassic Park, just like me, this might seem like a great idea because they're patiently waiting for Velociraptor's bone marrow to show up so that we can gene splice it with a chicken to create real, living, breathing dinosaurs. To a generation who has seen the world tear itself apart in these past few decades, this might be seen as adding fuel to a fire. And as we all know, a bigger fire is even harder to contain. However, the reaches of that fire, when controlled, can lead to a better understanding on how to develop and how to contain that type of fire. But was it really worth the risk in the first place? I don't know. For me, it's a yes. Because as you guys know, I'm a sucker for cool, extinct dinosaurs.